What is up, amigos? Today we're looking at the aerodynamics of Brazil and whether Brazilians should be ashamed of Brazil's aerodynamics or not. And Brazil has a lot to be proud of, for example, the cups that they make, but are aerodynamics one of them? We'll find out, and by the end, we'll look at the drag coefficient of Brazil compared to other countries we've looked at. So these are cup planes downstream, and one thing that stands out is the wake is very unsteady. You can see it moves around in all two dimensions, so like up and down, left and right. This indicates that the flow is very three-dimensional and indicates that there is potential for a lot of drag. It doesn't mean that there is a lot of drag, but potentially there is a little bit of drag. Let's look at the total drag coefficient as well in this plot as well, and we'll see that there is quite a bit of drag being produced in certain areas. And you can see there's quite a lot of drag just being produced everywhere. It's fairly uniform and there's not a lot of method to this madness. This Y plane is cutting through Salvador, so the east part of Brazil. And one thing that's interesting is at this plane, I think there's a little bit of a two-dimensional effect here. So if you zoom in here, like here, you can see that there's kind of like a volcanometric being formed. It's not very crisp, but it's somewhat discernible right here. This Y plane is more inland now, so it's going through around Sao Paulo area, and the wake is really big here. Would I say that this is good? No, I wouldn't. I would say that this is probably going to produce a lot of drag, so let's look at that plot now. And this total drag plane here shows there is a lot of drag being produced. It's also going up at a bit of an angle, which indicates that the flow is kind of producing a bit of downforce. So what is the downforce coefficient of this country? I'm glad you asked. The lift coefficient is -4, so that Brazil produces a downforce of 0.14, which makes sense because Brazil does host a Grand Prix. This Y plane is right at the southern tip of Brazil, and I'm always surprised at how like the little peninsulas produce so much wake. So for example here, the cross-sectional area is not very big, but the wake just blows out a lot. And moving to the top of Brazil, we do see a really big wake coming off of this structure because as you got Brazil, like it sort of fans out a little bit. And there is a little bit of a two-dimensional structure, I would imagine. Like you can see here, there's a little bit of a two-dimensional swaying back and forth. But let's move on to the question we're all here to find an answer to. Should Brazilians be ashamed of Brazil's aerodynamics? Oh, and the drag coefficient seems to be right in the meaty part of all the countries. This indicates that while Brazilians shouldn't be like really ashamed of their aerodynamics, they should be like moderately ashamed, some like enough to feel alive. So that's in this video. If you liked it, make sure to like it, and if you want to see more like this, subscribe. And if you want to see other ones, check out the playlist. And I'll see you next video. Peace out, amigos.